Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of True Crime Time for Monday, March the 31st, 2025, and I'm Woody Overton.
I'm Cyndi Overton.
We're bringing it to you again. Bunch of craziness around the world, huh?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on, y'all. Shout out real quick to Maddie and Chris Rozier, who I had the honor of officiating their wedding this weekend, and that'd been a couple years in the making. And I think they're on their honeymoon cruise right now, but a bunch of great people we got to meet. It was a good time.
Yes, amazing time.
Yeah, and Maddie's dad worked at Angola for like 30 years and still in corrections at Rapides Parish Sheriff's Office, 79 years old. And this dude could take out Mike Tyson in his prime.
Absolutely.
They call him walking tall. He's a hell of a man. So met some great people, met some kids that were just amazing. This doctor from up there, his kids are, one of them wants to be an author. The other one's going to help us with our YouTube stuff. He's just, just geniuses.
Genius.
But anyway, y'all, I'm going to say this. I love and appreciate each and every one of y'all. And let me tell you why I'm going to say it again, because I mean it. And I don't ever talk about reviews because, if you leave a review, great. We'd love it. And if you leave a bad review, great. It is what it is. But somebody actually messaged me and said that they believe that I say I love and appreciate y'all too much.
Yeah, they did.
And to stop saying that I love and appreciate y'all.
Because it takes too much time.
It takes too much time.
She's just trying to listen to you on her 12. I mean, it's an honor that she's listening to you 12 hours a day.
She says she listens 12 to 15 hours a day.
Yeah.
But I talk too much.
Well, you do.
Anyway, let's get down some true crime time for the end of March, the last day of March.
Wow.
It's been a really great month for us, by the way, for Real Life, Real Crime. We got hashtag Justice for Haley. Should be concluding this week on Friday. So y'all stay tuned for that. And of course, I haven't checked our numbers on the live show. It's July the 19th at Southeastern Louisiana University in the Student Union Theater. And you can go to any of our social media and click the link to get the tickets.
Absolutely.
And we have the hotel discount at the Home to Suites and Hilton. So y'all get your tickets before they sell out. And it's going to be a great event. And thank you, Southeastern, for that. But tell us a story.
Okay. I'm sure people are looking forward to Scorched ending in 2026.
Yeah, right. Hopefully.
We're going to Houston.
H-Town.
Yes.
Leah Marie.
Yes. And I sure will have Leah to thank for this.
Yes. She sends us about 50 stories a day. He ran like a little bitch.
Now, that is just being nice, saying that this man ran like a little bitch.
Okay.
That's just like the nicest thing we could say. A family's going down the road in Houston in their Ford Expedition on March 25th. And they're going down Yale Street.
Okay.
He's going 100 miles an hour down Yale Street.
Okay.
And
that's too fast.
With 3 toddlers.
What?
His wife and 8-year-old daughter in the vehicle with him.
Okay.
Okay. There's another car. He's coming to a light. There's another car that's trying to get out of his way. And I guess he probably misassesses the speed that this expedition's going, because you don't expect someone to go 100 miles an hour
anywhere.
And so he just tried to turn to get out of the way, and the expedition hit him and flipped over. Well, guess what this quote unquote father did? He got out.
He ran like
he started running.
He left his family. Nothing says I love you, kids and wife, like hauling ass from a scene of a crash and leaving you in the car.
Oh, he didn't leave him in the car. The 8-year-old was ejected from the freaking vehicle that he ran from.
Fuck him.
Yes. And then guess what? A few minutes later, someone came and picked him up. Like he called somebody, hey, come and get me.
Yeah.
So
can't kill bad grass.
The ones that were left behind were all put in ICU.
Jeez.
I mean, they're all horrible. So When first responders arrived, they found the man's wife, 3 toddler-aged children inside the vehicle. And like I said, the 8-year-old daughter had been ejected.
Okay.
And all the family members were rushed to the hospital. 3 remain in critical condition and 2 are in serious condition. As of the date of this, they had not found the father. He has not been named publicly, but Captain Ryan Watson stated that investigators are pursuing all leads to determine why he fled and where he may have gone. I do not have any information on the other driver of the other vehicle that he hit. I'm hoping that that driver's okay, and anyone else that was in the car.
At 100 miles an hour, it's not going to be good.
No, it's not.
And you just haul ass and leave your family.
Yeah. You're just going to go.
Yeah.
Oh, and it landed in a bayou. I forgot that part.
There you go.
Now that's a man right there.
Well, he can't outrun those warrants. They're going to catch his ass. I can only imagine. I can't imagine the stupidest thing ever.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Okay, well, this next story I'm going to touch on because there's like 27 different stories out about it right now.
Mm-hmm.
I do not know a lot about the case. I know you know more about it than me. It's Ruby Franke.
Mm-hmm. She's
and
messed up.
Holy smokes, all these stories are on it. But so I'm not going to talk about the crimes and all that stuff, but I'm going to tell you, if anything positive has come out of the story, it has to be this. Okay. So Ruby Franke has about 2.5 million followers on social media, and she's been documenting her family's life on what they call the 8 passengers page.
Yep.
All right. It was a high profile child abuse case of Ruby Franke in Utah. Now, Utah, I like Utah, you know that.
Yeah, I know.
And they're pretty straight people. So Utah took the chance to make a law out of this.
Good.
Right. And Utah has passed a law aimed at protecting children of online personalities. Now, the law, which was signed by their governor, Spencer Cox, on Tuesday, March 25th, it gives the adults the opportunity to erase from social media any content in which they appeared as minors. It's according to NBC.
Okay.
I don't know how you do that, because once it's out there, isn't it? But under the law, the parents are also obligated to set money aside for children who appear online.
Good.
Right. And the new law was supported by Frank's husband, Kevin, who filed for divorce after Ruby's arrest.
Mm-hmm.
And the father of 6 testified in front of a House committee in support of this new law.
Mm-hmm.
He said children cannot give informed consent to be filmed on social media, period. And if we as adults cannot understand the emotional and psychological impacts of sharing our lives to millions of strangers online, how can we expect our children to understand
Exactly.
it? I mean, and you don't.
No.
You have no idea. It's just like us talking and people saying whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't know what people think, and it takes all kinds to make the world go around.
Well, and imagine the people, because the people in the comment sections were horrible a lot of times, and if the kids go in and read that, they're going to, and the husband had a very hard time with it.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason for their divorce. But
well, they said Ruby and her family got the 2.5 million followers on social media while documenting their family's life in the lakeside suburb of Springville, Utah, on that 8 passengers page. There, Franke shared videos explaining how she'd take away a child's bed as punishment or withhold meals as teaching lesson. And she fucking put it on social media. I'm going to have to go down
her 2nd grade daughter forgot her lunch. No, her kindergarten daughter forgot her lunch. Yeah. And the teacher called and said, "Hey, can you bring her some lunch?" And she's documenting this. And she said, no, she was supposed to make her lunch. She will suffer.
Kindergartner.
Yeah.
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 Okay. Well, this must have been what you're talking about in 2020. Her public downfall began after a bunch of people signed an online petition and asking Child Protective Services to investigate her family, right? Because all the shit she was posting. And Franke soon joined the Connexions, Connexions, parenting advice podcast with a Mormon therapist, Jody Hildebrand. That's crazy, right?
That's what I was
The two Both of them were later charged with felony child abuse in August of 2023, so 3 years later, after a neighbor called 911 to report that Frank's emaciated son knocked at his door asking for help. Now, this boy had escaped from Hildebrandt's home, the therapist, right? The podcaster. But anyway, the boy had visible wounds and marks from tape around his wrists and ankles. And when the cops got there, they found Frank's 10-year-old daughter in a similar state inside Hildebrandt's home.
But hidden. It was like 4,000, it was like 8,000 square feet or something, and various different, like
That's
it was a lot underground. And there was like a walk-in safe, like a safe room. But the little girl was found bound, hands behind her back. And they couldn't get her out of the room. It took hours.
I don't have to ask. I know Utah has the death penalty. She should have got it. But Frank and Hildebrandt received 4 separate prison sentences for 1 to 15 years, which will run consecutively, right? So back to back. They said, I'm not saying YouTube is a bad thing. This Frank's youngest daughter, who was the one that you're talking about, was found along with her brother. She said, sometimes it brings us together, but kids deserve to be loved, not used by the ones that are supposed to love them the most.
You know, when you said that, you know what? It reminded me of what she said in the documentary I saw. She would not leave the room because she said, I've been a bad girl. I need to stay here. I cannot leave this room. I've been a bad girl. And
they'll get them the help they need. But y'all, you know, child abuse is bad naturally. And if you suspect child abuse, please report it. Call the Child Help National Child Abuse Hotline at 1-800-4A-CHILD or 1-800-422-4453, or go to www.childhelp.org, and all calls are toll free and confidential.
Yeah.
It's crazy that you even have to have that. But as we know, evil is real.
Evil is real, and the more followers she got, and then especially when she got mixed up with that doctor, it got worse. But one of the things that she did, it's like there's a fine line, because one of the things that she did, one of the sons didn't dress proper for church one day. He was young, like 9, and she made him on video do push-ups repetitive. And so that's what I'm saying. It's a fine line, because
look, my daddy used to punish me by making me get up before school and work out and run and all that. And then knowing that I had to go to football practice after school and then come home and punish me again by making me run and work out.
Exactly.
You know, that was after I stuffed my pants with toilet paper one time. I knew I was getting a whipping, and it didn't hurt me. And I was outside laughing, and he saw me. He was like, okay, well, now I'm just going to punish you. Yeah. And I wish I had taken the beatings. I stayed punished.
No, exactly.
But I mean but there's no excuse for duct taping a kid, period.
Nope.
And all this other stuff. And look, I don't know that much about it, other than I can't ignore it as a true crime podcaster when there are like 27 things that pop up first about Frank.
I am very, very glad that the daddy is doing something with legislation, because he had a hard time and he walked out of their lives for years. I think probably just to get himself back together so he could go in fighting. You know?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm glad that for once the lawmakers are doing something right. So good deal.
So the other day you were telling me a story about someone, I think it was on our way to Alexandria, the one way, the guy driving down the interstate the wrong way.
I was driving on the Interstate 49 in Alexandria a couple of years ago, maybe during Courtney's case, or maybe I was going up north for something. And this is a raised interstate of 4 lanes on my side and 4 lanes on the other side. It's a big interstate, right? Yeah. And it's middle of the daytime. It's like noon. And I look up and I see cars getting out of the way, and here comes this dude, and it's like 1975 Chevrolet single cab truck, older gentleman, gray hair and glasses and shit, just driving the wrong way in the fast lane, the wrong way on the interstate. I'm like, fuck. And I called 911. I'm like, you got a dude going the wrong way, and he's hauling ass. He's going to kill somebody. Yeah. And I don't know if they called him, or hopefully I didn't see anybody died from it, but bad. I mean, what? Maybe he had dementia or something.
That's what I was going to say. It's happening more often. Right. But on March 24th, 2025 in Houston, Texas, on Interstate 45 near Allen Parkway, that's kind of outside of town. But a woman, 33 years old, Brittany Munive, Munive, and her 9-year-old son, DJ, were returning to Houston from a weekend softball tournament in Dallas.
Okay.
And around 2:00 a.m., so they were driving in late, kind of like what we did, do often on a trip, is we like to hit the road when there's no traffic.
Exactly.
Around 2 a.m., their vehicle was struck head on by a Ford F-150 pickup truck traveling the wrong way.
God.
And both Brittany and DJ were pronounced dead at the scene. Her husband, Dario Munive, and their 10-year-old daughter, Mila, sustained critical injuries and were transported to a local hospital. The driver was identified as Michael Anthony Angohijo. I'm saying that wrong. He's suspected of driving under the influence, and he was critically injured and is currently hospitalized, but he got off easy considering, and he's also charged with intoxication manslaughter.
Yeah, right.
So a GoFundMe, of course, has been set up for their medical expenses, but Catherine Thomas, which is Brittany's sister, has expressed gratitude for support and prayers at this time.
Oh, man. The wrong way. You're going the wrong way. How does he know which way we're going? And that, I hate it for him.
There's 430 deaths a year of vehicles doing this.
The wrong way.
The wrong way.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what the percentage is of vehicles on the road versus that, but I can assure you it happens.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to it's time for beast mode. You know, in college football, there's nothing more prestigious than winning the Heisman Trophy. That means you are the best football player in the world, college football player in the world for that year. And there's like 4 or 5 that make the finals every year. And it gets voted on by the reporters and all these different people and stuff. And it's big shit. And if you make the finals to be selected as a Heisman, you're going to in the number 1 round in the NFL. Well, you know, then you would think that you like a lot of them, they have the ex-Heismans in the commercials and stuff, and they're older now and what have you, Dr. Pepper and stuff like that. But you would think that you would go on and have your NFL career and then do some good shit, right? Well, I'm going to tell you about a guy who didn't. And it's LaShawn Johnson. Now, yeah, most of y'all probably won't remember him, but he was a former NFL and college football star running back. And guess what? He has now been charged with running a dog fighting ring in Oklahoma and trafficking animals. Check this out. So the Department of Justice. Now, I don't know if y'all remember when Michael Vick got his ass in the crack. He was the number 1 quarterback in the NFL, and he went to prison for the same thing, federal prison. He got back out and played again, but he got straight. When the feds come for you, you heard me say this so many times, you are effed, and he's effed because the Department of Justice has accused Johnson, who's now 54, of possessing 190 pit bull type dogs for use in an animal fighting venture and for selling them. Like, my dog's being enough, see, he won.
The breed,
And well, it's not the breed. They use all kinds of dogs to fight. I've busted up dog fighting rings and stuff. It's just fucking sad.
But they just said pit bull light or something.
Pit bull type.
I thought he was breeding them.
He's breeding them to fight and sell.
Yeah.
And that's bad, okay?
Yeah.
And so also, he's transporting and delivering a dog for use in an animal fighting venture. Now, he's the former 1993 Heisman Trophy candidate who played 6 seasons in the NFL between 1994 and 1999. And guess what? Now he can play in the prison league because he faces up to 5 years in prison for each of his charges, as well as a $250,000 fine. So with the DOJ, Department of Justice says it believes the 190 dogs they seized from Johnson last October is the most ever seized from a single person in a federal dog fighting case. And the authorities said that Johnson ran the dog fighting ring under the name Malcant Kennels in both Broken Arrow and Haskell, Oklahoma. So they said Johnson selectively bred champion and grand champion fighting dogs. Dogs that have respectively won 3 or 5 fights to produce offsprings with fighting traits and abilities desired by him and others to use in dog fights, that's according to DOJ.
Jeez.
So he marketed and sold stud rights and offspring from winning fighting dogs to other dog fighters looking to incorporate the Mal Kennel's bloodline into their own dog fighting operations.
That's disgusting.
Dog fighting is just wrong.
Yeah.
And, Louisiana was the last state to outlaw cockfighting, but this dog shit still goes on. But Johnson's prolific trafficking of pit bulls contributed to the growth of dog fighting industry and allowed Johnson to profit financially. Well, imagine from that. And Johnson had previously pled guilty to Oklahoma State animal fighting charges in 2004 after he was arrested for running what he called crazy Crazy Side Kennels, which doubled as a dog fighting ring. You have to tell the story one day. We went in a bunch of different agencies to assist on this dog fighting ring, and it's a big deal. People have come from all over, and it's in the middle of the backwoods in this field, an old barn, and you get to sneak up on them because everybody runs. It's a lot of dope. There's a lot of gambling, and of course, it's illegal.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Why do that to your dog?
I don't get it.
Some of those dogs they put like these super, super heavy logging chains on them to bulk them up, but they chain them to their house, and you see their houses, and they'll be in the middle of the woods. I'm talking about dog houses, and it'll be bare all the way around. That chain is big around in my arm.
Yeah.
And then they feed them black gunpowder and mix in their food to make them meaner, to make them fight hard. I
bet they're giving them cocaine too now.
I don't know.
Now that we've heard those other stories.
Yeah, I forgot about the cocaine dogs that killed that lady.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. There's a beast mode for you.
Jeez.
All kinds.
All kinds. Well, I'm going to tell you about another kind. I don't understand. I'm going to Philadelphia. And a woman named Danielle Baxter. She killed her husband. But I don't understand. She posted a cryptic message on social media, and they took the message down, but it suggested that other women were attempting to undermine her marriage.
Okay.
But she killed her husband. Like, if another woman's coming after your man, maybe go after the other woman.
Well, it takes 2 to tango. Kill them both.
Right.
Right.
But on March 19th, 2025, around 7 a.m.
If you're going to kill one, kill them. You might as well go ahead and kill them both.
You're going to do time, then get all the crime in, right?
Right.
But I'm not making a joke of this. It's horrible. But Philadelphia police responded to reports of a person screaming on the 800 block of Bells Mill Road. And when they arrived, Jordan Baxter's body was lying on a plastic sheet between 2 parked cars outside of the couple's residence.
Wow.
They go back into the residence. Well, first they noticed that he had a fatal gunshot wound to the back of his head.
Yeah.
The back of his head.
Right. Execution style.
And a firearm was resting on his chest.
You shot yourself in the back of the head.
And then put it down.
Right.
Inside the home, investigators found blood on a mattress, indicating that the shooting, of course, may have occurred indoors. Danielle Baxter, the wife, was taken into custody on March 20th and has been charged with murder, abuse of a corpse, and possession of an instrument of crime. She is being held without bail and scheduled to appear in court on March 7th.
She just...
They say authorities haven't disclosed the specific motive of the crime, but social media posts are,
Right. She's saying they were coming from a man, right?
They're continuing to obviously investigate what's going on. That's just... Well,
there you have it.
Yeah.
Kill them and you might get caught.
And drag them outside. Like, how was dragging them outside going to...
I'm pretty sure she was planning on getting rid of the body. If she could do it, she got caught. All right, let's do it's time for Effed Up Professionals. We love our military, and we love our veterans, and
Yes.
we're absolutely pro USA 1000%. And the people that serve and choose to serve, and it's just a great thing.
It really is.
And unless you're an asshole. And let me tell you about David Ibarra, 31 years old, and he is a U.S. Airman, active duty senior airman in the U.S. Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's not a nice guy because he solicited a 9-year-old girl to send him sexually explicit imagery and even offered her money for the exchange. And guess who it is? The U.S. Department of Justice is on his ass. David Ibarra, 31, who's stationed in Anchorage, Alaska, was brought to federal court on Long Island Wednesday morning, March the 26th, on the charge of sexual exploitation of a child, coercion, and enticement, according to the court documents. So in August of 2024, Ibarra pretended to be a 13-year-old boy named Dave and coerced a 9-year-old girl to text him sexually explicit photographs and videos of herself. Fuck that.
She had to be
so
told exactly what to do.
And just,
you know what I mean?
Probably starving for attention or whatever. I don't know. So the cops get involved and they review the girl's phone. They found 17 separate Apple Pay payments from Ibarra for $191 total. Right? I mean,
she's 9.
Yeah, for a 9-year-old, that's a lot of money, I guess. Ibarra first reached out to the little girl on TikTok and asked her to add him on Roblox so they could talk more, this according to prosecutors. He then pressured the girl to send him more images over text and directed her what to do in the photos. This motherfucker's 31 years old.
Yeah.
On August 29th, 2024, Ibarra texted her, "Can we be a little dirty before we go to sleep? Please, and I'll send money." And later that day, he asked her, "Take your spandex off and rub it again and show me more of it."
Oh
my God. Right? That same day, he messaged her, "Can I see it again? And can you open it with your fingers?" She's fucking 9.
Even
dude.
if he really was 13, that's horrible.
Yeah.
But,
right?
I mean, this is a
31-year-old senior U.S. airman.
Mm-mm.
So, U.S. District Court Judge John Durham didn't like that too much, and he ordered Ibarra to be incarcerated pending trial and wrote in a detention letter that Ibarra was involved in the most serious federal crimes involving the sexual exploitation of children, which is absolutely true, Your Honor. So Ibarra, who the judge deems a flight risk, could face a mandatory minimum sentence of 15 to 30 years in prison. He's going to get it. He said the defendant's abusive behavior is even more dangerous because it was focused on some of the most vulnerable members of the community, preteen girls. By encouraging and in some cases coercing these children to create exploitive images of themselves for him, he has undoubtedly caused them great and possible irreparable psychological harm.
Yes.
And y'all back to it, and everybody hates child abuse, right? Even convicts hate chomos.
Mm-hmm.
But if you suspect child abuse, call that Child Help National Child Abuse Hotline at 1-800-4CHILD or 1-800-422-4453, or go to www.childhelp.org, and it's all toll free and confidential. Y'all, I mean, child abuse is so bad. It's just stupid. They seem to be on that story today from the dad that left his kid that was ejected to whatever that chick's name is in Utah, and this guy, and it's just part of life.
It's very, very, very.
But we're gonna be starting to do, I don't know if you call it a series. I guess it is a series. Human sex trafficking.
Yes.
Y'all about to take on that fight. And we have a lady coming on that has lived it. She's a survivor, and she's doing great things. And in the things that she's doing, she's able to help other people who are victims of human trafficking,
Yeah.
sex slavery, and we're going to get that in. We're going to take that calls up also.
Yeah.
Right. Coming soon, so stay tuned for that. All right, give us another one.
Okay.
Spread the joy.
Oh, I got some joy here. Talk about child abuse.
Oh, Lord.
So mom and son went to Disneyland.
It's a family.
Mm-hmm.
It's time for Family Matters. So they're going to Disneyland.
They're going to Disneyland. 48-year-old Saritha Ramaraju. Hope I said that right. She's been charged with murder of her 11-year-old son, Yatin.
Damn.
They had a 3-day trip to Disneyland.
Okay.
The tragedy unfolded on March 19th, 2025, when 911 was called by the mama, Saritha, confessing to...
Do we know which Disneyland? There's a lot of them.
No, I don't know.
Okay.
I do not know which Disneyland. Santa Ana, California. I mean,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there was the one in California. There's Disney World in Orlando, but they have them in Europe and shit too.
Yeah, they do have definite, like in Paris.
Right.
Yeah. As far as I can tell, because of the Santa Ana, this is California. But the mom called and confessed to stabbing her 11-year-old, and then she attempted suicide by taking some pills.
Shout out to all our 911 dispatchers who have to hear that shit every day.
Can't imagine.
I stabbed my 11-year-old.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to kill myself.
Yeah. Authorities responded to the La Quinta Inn and Suites in Santa Ana after the call, and they discovered the little boy's lifeless body in bed, surrounded by Disney souvenirs.
Wow.
Yeah. A large kitchen knife reportedly purchased the day before was found at the scene. And the mom was taken to the hospital for treatment following her suicide attempt and was subsequently arrested. But the body cam footage shows that she appears very calm and compliant when the officers are walking up with her. She has her phone in her ear, I'm assuming still on 911, but there's visible blood on her hands and clothing. And you can hear, you can hear the officer saying she has blood on her hands as they, So the incident apparently occurred because this was a custodial visitation, and her ex-husband are fighting over custody of the child. And so she's
just gonna kill him.
You can't have him. I can't have him. You can't have him, I guess. The mother accused her ex-husband of substance abuse and making unilateral decisions regarding their son's welfare. And the man, the ex-husband, denied those allegations, said they're completely false and untrue. And so I guess she just decided to take the child and her own life. But she's facing charges of special circumstances, a murder, including allegation of lying in wait, which could make her eligible for the death penalty under California law.
And that's one thing that surprises me about California. They actually have the death penalty and they will use it. But this is a case. She deserves it. She's
been assigned a public defender and has not yet entered her plea, and she has court on the 17th. So that's just...
Wow. I don't know what to say about that.
I mean,
it's bad, horrible, murdered. Boy, if you could tell me something that's worse than murdering your own kid, like especially a young kid like that, I'd like to know what it is. I mean, raping your own kid is bad, but then you murder them because you don't want to go back to their dad.
Right.
This is a person that you've cared for, you fed him every day for 11 years, you dress him, you do everything for him, you try to teach him right from wrong, but then you're going to murder him just because. Well, let me take you back to some more. It's time for Effed Up Professionals. I don't really understand how the U.S. Postal Service is still even in existence because, there's no more snail mail, right? When I was a kid or I was in the Army, you hand wrote letters and everything. There was no email. There was no internet and all that. Now, I get 400 emails a day, right?
Yeah.
Imagine if that was
400 letters.
right. Our postal worker would hate us, but and then naturally when I was a kid, I think stamps were a penny.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much they are now, too much probably, but that's a pretty good profession. A lot of veterans join in, and it's a good protected job and good wages. And, the mail must go out, rain, sleet, snow, or shine.
Yeah.
Well, let me take you to a little bit of some postal worker baddies. And so New York City postal workers, they kidnapped and attempted to rape the co-worker in the back of a truck, a mail truck, after a party in 2023. And this according to the Manhattan District Attorney. So Daniel Jean, 38, Kurt Akala, 38, and Edward Chu, 40, have all been charged in the New York State Supreme Court with kidnapping in the second degree and kidnapping in the second degree as a sexually motivated felony. And then again, according to Manhattan District Attorney Alvin J. Bragg, Jr. So Jean additionally is charged with attempted rape in the first degree, attempted sexual abuse in the first degree, sexual abuse in the first degree, and forcible touching. And it said, as alleged in this indictment, these 3 postal workers dragged their incapacitated colleague out of a post office and into a mail truck where they attempted to rape her. And this happened in June of 2023.
Okay.
At their work. They had a party. I'm going to get to it.
Yeah.
So they said, we take investigations and prosecutions of sexual violence extremely seriously. So according to a joint investigation between the Manhattan DA's office, New York City Police Department, and the USPS Inspector General's office, which post office, most people don't know, but they have their own police. The unidentified coworker went to an after-work birthday party for a friend at this post office on East 11th and 4th Avenue. And this is where she worked with 3 defendants that have been arrested. And this late on an afternoon on June 8th, 2023. But later in the evening, she began to feel strange and could not control her body and eventually lost consciousness. Can you say roofie?
Yeah.
So it is then that while still in the post office, Joan is alleged to have slapped and squeezed the victim's buttocks while she was unable to stand or fully hold her head up. I'm quite sure they have cameras, but we'll get to it. The defendants then dragged her out of the post office and into the back of the truck. Inside the truck is where Jean attempted to rape the coworker. Now, after responding to a 911 call, NYPD officers found Akala Chu sitting in the front seats of the truck where they refused to open the back. Cops like, let's go on to the back. We're not going to open it for you. No. Well, that doesn't really work. It didn't work because the cops heard banging sounds and called for help from inside the truck, right? And they're like, no, fuck you, we're not opening it. So Jean then steps out of the back of his truck and his pants are unzipped.
Oh my gosh.
So the unidentified victim was later found in the back of the truck with her pants undone. And these 3 assholes are going to lose their job, and they are facing a plethora of charges. Now, not only on the state level, but federal shit.
How are you having a party?
I mean, people have parties all the time. I was at state police, we'd have birthday parties for people.
I guess I was taking it because she was incapacitated, that they were having a drinking party too. Like there was alcohol involved. Y'all didn't have
said no, but sometimes, but not on state grounds.
That's what I'm saying.
We did at other places, but it doesn't matter. She was drugged.
Right.
And they dragged her out, put her in the back of a postal van, and tried to rape her.
No, I get it. I just was.
And the cops get there. I'm thinking, I don't know who called 911, but thank God somebody did. Probably somebody that saw him drag her ass out of the office.
Yeah.
And stick her in the back of a truck.
That's horrible.
And hey, do you really think this is going to work?
Apparently they did.
Yeah. Maybe they figured she'd be so blacked out she wouldn't have any recollection.
Yeah.
Well.
Poor thing.
That's horrible. She does. And they're in jail where they need to be.
Yeah.
And there's your effed up professionals. Mm-hmm. At your local post office, which I hadn't been in a post office in a lot of years.
Yeah, I have to go sometimes to mail real life real crime stuff.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. I don't know. That's it. It's enough love and joy for today, right?
Lots of it.
There you have it. Shout out to our patron and convicts. Love you.
And appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Shout out to all lifers. You can't be a patron and convict. I get it. We love you anyway. Don't forget about the Real Life Real Crime Community app in the App Store. You can download it for free. You can become a convict in there if you want to. Or if you don't want to be in the app, go to patreon.com, type in Real Life Real Crime, and it gives all the different options that you have for subscriptions. Yeah. So, in the bonus materials and early releases, commercial free, blah, 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 everything that goes along with that. But we do love and appreciate each and every one of y'all. Thank you for liking and listening and sharing. If you are so inclined, go leave us a review.
Yes.
On iTunes or wherever you listen to Real Life Real Crime.
Yes.
So, and that's all I got.
Can I do a quick shout out? I'm not going to say the name. It was two young men that we met, and you got up to marry Maddie, and the little boy, one of the little boys looks at his daddy and said, "Is that guy?" Right. He had no idea who you were. He had no idea you were going to be there. Yeah. And
look, they were dressed to the nines too, in their little suits and Gucci shoes and
sixth grade little boy, young man, very young man.
He came up with his dad and he said, "Sir, when you started talking," I was like, "Dad, is that the guy we listen to 11 and 12 hours every time we get in the car?" And his dad was super cool and their mom was super cool. Look,
yes.
I don't know how they're doing such a good job.
But I just thought
that was very cool. Yeah.
Your voice.
Yeah. Well, that was cool. And, you know, it was just a cool trip.
Very cool trip.
So love y'all. We're out of here. And I'm Woody Overton.
I'm Cyndi Overton.
Host of True Crime Time for the last day of March 2025. We'll holler at you later. Peace.